Svāyambhuvasya ca manayor vamsa parama-sammataḥ kathiyatam bhagavan yatra mithune dhire prajaha. Sometimes may feel that why Srimad Bhagavatam, or we see the Vidura, the pure devotee of the Lord, is asking about the progeny multiplied through sexual intercourse. Bhagavatam is called Amal Purana. By hearing regularly Bhagavatam, we come out from all great illusion. So why it is being described? So we must know everything has a right application. Like Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi, I am the sex life, which is not against a religious principle. For instance, consider if sex is not there, then how the population will come? And this material world is one path bhuvuti. It's a 1/4 of the complete creation. It's a huge thing. 1/3 is a spiritual world, and part of this spiritual world is also the material world. And Lord has a divine plan for this. Lord Himself descended to this world. So, when we understand this world through scriptures, so that's called real understanding. But a corrupt mind or contaminated mind, when we read the world, we read differently. As he said, if sex would not be there, then how to populate? And the Lord has a divine plan. What is the plan of the Lord for creating this material world? Yeah, some of the jiva, those who became some rebellious, those who have some imaginary plan to enjoy this world, to give them a chance so that they can be purified and go back to Godhead. So there is a very divine plan for this existence. Why the pure devotee descend? Why the Acharya descend? Why the Lord descends? Even in the case of, we all read, or we must be reading further, you all understand about Priyavrat Maharaj. Now, the descendant is being asked about the line of Svāyambhuva Manu was most esteemed. O worshipful sage, I beg you, give me an account of this race, whose progeny multiplied through sexual intercourse. So Svāyambhuva Manu had how many children? How many children had? 5. Uttanpad, Priyavrat Maharaj, Akuti, Prashuti and Devahuti. Very exalted children. 2 sons, 3 daughters. And when Uttanpad took the throne, then Priyavrat Maharaj, where he went? he went for tapasya. The purpose of family life was to create a good progeny so that the purpose of this creation can be fulfilled. As Arjuna says, Varna Sankara, in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When the women are polluted, then unwanted children will come. Like in the case of Kardama Muni and Diti. Diti in the evening time, which is not the right time for that purpose, was very sexually agitated and forced Kardama Muni to associate with her. That's the reason demons has produced Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. And we have read, or we must be reading further, even the Kardama Muni, he was a great sage. Sorry, Kashyap Muni, that Diti and Kashyap. Here in even Kardama Muni and here Dehuti. So, it is furtherly reading, the Kardama Muni performed 10,000 years to great austerities before creating the progeny. And he was able to have a darshan of the Lord. Beautiful description is that we must be reading further. How the Lord came front of and standing on the Garuda. Beautiful description of how the Lord is there. So that's the reason the Garbhadhana Sanskara as a very, very big event used to happen in the Vedic time. As a nothing is hide and seek, nothing is called, is very open, and it has for the right divine purpose. It's a divine purpose for that. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had many children, so he could able to bring out the Bhakti Saran Thakur Maharaj, who were able to transform the whole world. So, see, everything is a two, existential purpose or called pleasure purpose. Like, say example of when we eat food. It's two ways to look at the food. Food may be for pleasure. Another, if you have to live, you have to eat food. So food has a divine purpose also, and food can be another purpose. Similarly, here the sex is a divine purpose, or it can be other purpose which is demonic and which lead to the destroying the called Atma Tattvam. Now Bhagavad Gita talks about if it's one not regulated, then it destroy the urge for self-realization. But in Kali Yuga, especially in this age, things are wrongly propagated. And the whole society is very corrupt in that sense. In the relation between the man, husband and wife is very divine. If they are able to create a good population for furthering Krishna consciousness. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj used to say, if you are able to produce Krishna conscious children, then you can produce millions. That there is a need. But don't produce cats and dogs. They are enough, they used to say. So that's the reason here, Brahma. And Brahma is like Priyavrata Maharaj, he said. He went tapasya after Uttanpad, then Uttam and Dhruv Maharaj. Then there was no descendant to carry on. So that time, even Svāyambhuva Manu was there. He was very aged. He requested his own son, please stop austerity, please come and continue the generation. Even Narad Muni was inspired him to do tapasya. He himself wanted to continue the whole thing. So sometime here we see Narad Muni first says, go for tapasya, don't do. Second, he come back and continue. Because this is a divine purpose. See, we have to align ourselves not with our concoction, but the alignment with the purpose of Krishna. What Krishna is to Krishna is a divine purpose for this. So that's the reason we know Brahma and all they go. Along they took also Brahma being the grandfather. So at least he'll hear to the grandfather, if not to father. So Priyavrata accepted it. So the wrong perception, the way read this is the real world, right? The external energy of the Lord, Baharanga Sakti, is real. Manifestation is also real. Lord is descending to the real world. He will not come to imaginary. But He is coming. But as I said, the way we read, understand the person, we read this word is wrong. So we have to correct our perception. So the wrong understanding is called Maya. The topmost spiritual real relationship between Krishna and the gopis. Ramya kachit upasana brajavatus vargirniya kalpita. In the spiritual world, we have read in Vaikuntha, there are beautiful women, very handsome men, they have a relation. They align themselves with the Krishna's plan. Not I mean, the desire of Krishna, they align with that. So that knowledge which Bhagavatam is giving, Bhagavatam is trying to bring us in the right platform. Right understanding, actually sometimes we become averse to other way around, which is very wrong. That's also wrong understanding. So the right perception has to be brought through the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Right understanding of this world and right thing. It isn't what we resist is persist. Something like this. This is one. So it's nothing to, that's the reason Krishna says never hate, never this thing, like either way. Look at with the right perception, the whole world. So that's the reason dharma abhiruddheshu bhuteshu kamoshmi is according. So that's the reason Prabhupada is writing, regulated sex life to generate good population is worth accepting. Actually, Vidura was not interested in hearing the history of a person who merely engaged in sex life but he was interested in the progeny of Svāyambhuva Manu because in the dynasty good devotees kings appeared who had protected their subject very carefully with spiritual knowledge. You require a good king, good rulers. Who can direct the whole society in the right path. That's the reason they call Raj Rishi. All great kings. Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj. The Lord is also descending. He is also exhibiting through his Leela. Lord in the Dwarka had 16,108 queens, and he depicted how an ideal grahastha should live. Other day we were read, the Lord used to get up morning 3 o'clock, even though their wives may not like sometime, and perform their spiritual practices. And most it is said, by hearing the history of their activities, even this activity, their histories, therefore one becomes more enlightened. In hearing about these activities, they come to the right platform. That's the reason Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about. Vidura wished to hear more. And it is said that an important word used in this connection is parama-sammataḥ, which indicates that the progeny created by Svāyambhuva Manu and his sons was approved by great authorities. In other words, sex life for creating exemplary population is acceptable to all sages and authorities of Vedic scriptures. So creating the exemplary population. So when it is done for the right purpose, for the right mindset, so that's why Prabhupada also has a very strict guidelines for creating the progenies. Because it's not like a cats and dogs simply. Whenever you feel, whatever you feel, you do. Somewhere recommended husband wife so chant 64 rounds that day. Pray to Krishna. The right soul has to enter. And it is said that in the case of Kardama Muni and Dehuti, the husband and wife, Kardama and Dehuti, was advanced in yoga practice. The husband was a Mahayogi, great mystic, and the wife was a Yoga Lakshana, or one advanced in yoga. They united and produced children. Formerly, after making their lives perfect, great sages and saintly persons used to beget children. Otherwise, they strictly observed the rules and regulations of celibacy. So the Prabhupada says some legitimate or legal sex is allowed. So sex only is to create the good children, not otherwise. Now otherwise, they strictly observe the rules and regulations of celibacy. Now many places we read, they're attached to sex life, simply wrong so-called enjoyment, as a filth in that sense, if it is not rightly done. Prabhupada is mentioning one of the lecture. You have got tendency for sex life. Make it regulated by marriage ceremony. This is the Vedic civilization. Not that like a cats and dogs, you meet together and have a sex. No. That is recommended in Bhagavad Gita. Dharma viruddha kamaha, which is not against a religious principle. That kind of sex life, Krishna says, I am that sex life. So nothing is denied. Nothing is denied. But everything should be regulated. That is a human form of life. That regulated principle begins from the Varnashrama Dharma. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanprastha, and Sannyasa. So be Dhyangrahastha, come out, but don't to attach to that false pleasure. As he said, eating, same thing. For eating for pleasure, eating for an existential purpose. There's a certain purpose for eating. To take care of the body, make the body healthy, so that you can continue your devotion practices. So after the 50, come out. And Vanprastha, even though the wife and husband together, but they observe complete celibacy. So this material civilization is like a fever. We should not increase it, neither we should decrease it to such an extent that we shall die. Prabhupada is given one of the lecture. So this material civilization is like a fever. We should not increase it, neither we should decrease it to such an extent that we shall die. Because this human life is a great gift we have got. Just like fever, 105, 107 degree, 106 degree. Reduce it. Reduce. But it must stay at 100, not 100, 98 degree. If you reduce 98 degree, 97, that is also not good. Similarly, our program is not to increase to the death point, neither to decrease it to the death point. Yuktahar viharasya. We don't say don't eat. Eat, but don't eat more or don't eat less. Suppose eat only Krishna Prasadam. Jivasya tattva digyasha, and it is before that it is said that we have to have a regulated life. We don't prohibit anything. We don't say no sex life. Yes. We don't say no. Yes, sex life, married sex life, regulated sex life, with under the rules and regulations. The sex life is very strong in this material world, in this age. But sex life should be regulated. Now, this is the greatest, it is said that, entanglement for the jiva. But if it is done with under the rules and regulation, under for certain purpose, then is it divine. So that the good population can come out. But the sex life should be regulated, not that anywhere and everywhere. Everywhere or anytime. Therefore, the population is unwanted population. One irregular sex life produced the Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu's mother became very sexually agitated. She wanted to have sex with her husband. And just in the evening, Kashyap Muni, he said, no, this is not the right time. But she was insistent. So the result was 2 demons were born. So Prabhupada is another one analogy, one of the lecture. We require little salt with our food. But if you take more salt, the food becomes indistinct. You can take. If there is no salt, you cannot take it. Salt must be there, but to the point. Similarly, so for our sense gratification, we have got our senses, we have got our mouth, we have got our stomach. We require to eat. So we do not stop your eating, but we regulate your eating, that if you eat like this, Krishna Prasadam, then your life becomes full of austerities. If you have sex life in a regulated married life, fix up husband and wife, then it is austerity. That is all, na? If it's regulated. By becoming a devotee, automatically he is practicing penance. Just like here in this devotee, our society, this is penance. They are observing brahmacharya, no illicit sex. That is brahmacharya, or there is no sex at all. The sannyasis, brahmacharis, they observe completely celibacy life. Those who are grihastha, they have a regulated sex life. That is also brahmacharya. As soon as you become brahmachari, your mind becomes controlled. As long as your senses are engaged in Krishna's service, your senses are controlled. So it is said that there is only way to control your mind to engage in service of Krishna. Because we have been having a very sense-gratified desire for many lives, and we carry forward. Even in this life, we have very wrong impression of our mind. And mind keeps generating some rubbish thoughts. So that association is very important. If we associate with the wrong thing, either way, with a person, with a book, with a text, with anything, wrong thing, which will force us to the wrong path. So because mind, controlling the mind means engaging in service of Krishna. 24 hours, Prabhupada says. If mind is not engaged for, if 23 hours, 1 hour is not, so 1 hour it has to be engaged in sense gratification, Maya. And Prabhupada has given a full plan how to engage 24 hours mind in the service of Krishna. You eat for Krishna, you dance for Krishna, you cook for Krishna, you work for Krishna. But as soon as your senses are engaged in Krishna's service, your senses are controlled. The automatic yogic process you attained. So the real Samadhi Yoga means you engage in service of Krishna. If you simply try to control the senses, it is very difficult. But if you give senses engagement, then it is automatic. One place Prabhupada was in Mexico. So there's one person is asking in Spanish language, so devotee is translating. If everyone is a spirit soul, then isn't sex life also spiritual? So someone asked Prabhupada, went to Mexico. Prabhupada, well, sex life. There is no sex life in the spirit soul. Sex life is in the material body. Actually in spiritual there is no sex life. There is no birth as such. But here integrated so that the population can come and certain purpose can be fulfilled for this divine creation which the Lord has created. Can be destroyed by Tibrina Bhakti Yogena. especially chanting the holy name. It is said further in this chapter, when we the holy name, they attack the contamination like a vajra to destroy it. Holy name is very powerful. Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. And also Nityam Bhagavad Seva, when you hear how the perception can be changed, because we are carrying the wrong conception. So perception can be changed, or right perception. Neither we want other way, extreme either. We want the right perception. Not a hatred towards any particular thing. Because the Lord is created, Lord created with a certain purpose. So what is a sex life? There is no sex life in the spirit souls. Sex life is in material body. And our process is so powerful, chanting the holy name, serving for Krishna, we completely come out even the material, Dehatma Buddhi. Then this all thing will not affect. Because you see, everyone is a spirit soul. You don't identify with the wrong, false material body. So even that's a reason, right way to perceive a woman is, she is like a mother, Shastra says. Because it has some purpose. She is so identified with the mother, not for the self-enjoyment. So sex life is in material body, not in space soul. So we are not this body. But because we are in this body, therefore we are thinking pleasure of the body is a pleasure of the soul. So one who comes to Atmati, then completely, then they are independent. Just like when you are sitting in a nice car, like in the case we see, sometimes if we do not understand with the right authority, especially the Acharya, the wrongness like Ved Vyasa. He had a sexual intercourse with Satyavati. They are not married also, the particular time. And they are not just attracted and had this thing. Ved Vyasa, the great says, he knew that this particular time, if the progeny were created, then the incarnation of the Lord can come out. So Ved Vyasa was, what is, sorry, not Ved, Parashamni, sorry. So Ved Vyasa has come out. So that divine purpose was maintained always. Creating with the brother's wife also when the progeny is not there, that also was allowed. Because that now we think with our current scenario, with the current understanding, what the contamination mind we have. So that's the reason in Vedic time, there's many people they wrongly understand. Draupadi having 5 husbands, that's also. There's so many other places. There's a different perception was there. So that's the reason foolish people they criticize sometimes. The whole Vedic literature, especially Bhagavad Gita and others, are meant to destroy our wrong perception. Sometime, I was sitting with someone, he was saying Bhagavad Gita I'm reading, but I'm not able to understand the day-to-day application. Because the day-to-day application, you want to enjoy life. Bhagavad Gita is not meant for that. Sometime now very famous, some management guru talks about management. No, Bhagavad Gita is not meant for that. Foolishly they will think of that. That's the reason they have to interpret and they have to twist the meaning. There's no like this management principle in Bhagavad Gita. Only devotion is there. Surrender to Krishna. Leave all foolish things. They want to use Bhagavad Gita and enjoy their life. So that they can be a good leader, they can be a good manager. This Bhagavad Gita is not meant for that. Sometimes we may say to just attract them. But actually Bhagavad Gita says, around these all foolish things. Sarva dharman pradya maekam sharanam vraja. Just like when you are sitting in a nice car, if the car is damaged, the proprietor thinks that he is damaged, but actually he is not damaged. The car is damaged. It is due to our false identification with the body. The false idea in the body. When you come out Dehatmadi, then automatically whatever you do, you can never get affected by any activities. Good or bad, both. Why Bhagavad Gita says with the right knowledge, then you are never affected by any activities. Therefore, we think that sex life is pleasure. But so long we are in this body, sex life is not prohibited, but is regulated. By regulative principle, gradually we can give it up. Therefore, there are 4 orders. Beginning for brahmachari, further which lead to sannyasi. One devotee is asking Prabhupada a room conversation. So even if you are married, sex life can be material too? Prabhupada, yes. That is also regulated. When the wife is menstrual period, so after 5 days you can have sex life. As soon as she is pregnant, no more sex life. So sex life is meant for progeny, not for sense pleasure. Even the animals, dogs, cats, they have a period for sex life. As long as the female dog is pregnant, no more sex life. In certain month of the year, they have sex life, not all the year, even the animals. But the foolish, this civilization, it's called uncivilized people. So even the dogs, they follow regulations. Through the nature is already defined. But we human beings, we do not follow. The dogs have no restriction, but still they follow. Further, they're more detailed. I will just finish with one letter. Prabhupada is writing to one Mataji Sati. And Prabhupada is writing. See, Prabhupada received one letter from that Mataji. And Prabhupada is replying. My dear Swati Devi, please accept my obeisances, my blessings. I have duly received your letter dated. So your husband has gone, but you should not be too much worried. Your husband will come back to Krishna consciousness. I think they are married, then husband somehow left and gone. If not now, then later. Anyone who has tasted the bliss of Krishna consciousness, he cannot stay away for a very long time. So you should not be too much concerned. Do not be too much worried. Forget the past. Do not be attached to it, for we are only thinking of how we may now please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the devotees are always optimistic for the advancement of their spiritual progress. So, in the meantime, there is no question of any more marriage by you, so you will become free from the entangling grip of Maya, which means sex life. Just see, so many people are suffering so much just for a little sex life. I am so much disturbed by problems caused by sex life in our community that I am not going to sanction any more marriage. Our devotee must do it at their own risk from now on, and they must provide their own income for living together outside the temple, or if they live in the temple, they must live separately. But the guest was saying, either they should earn their money, don't take money from Krishna, even if they are completely engaged, they should live separately. So far as the other two children are concerned, they are not begotten by you, but still it is important to save them for Krishna. But if it appears impossible to get them back for the authorities, never mind. That is Krishna's plan. So Sama Prabhupada, for that much more detail, so Prabhupada is saying, the children are Krishna's gift and they must be well taken care. It's a responsibility of the guardian to take care of the children and of the right path. That's the reason in Bhagavatam says, Janna sasyas pitana shashyat. It's you have no right to become a mother and father unless you deliver the children from the clutches of birth and death. So we should see everything with the right perspective, then everything is divine and we'll able to so neither we hate anything, neither we have this thing, we have a right perception. That is called the right understanding the spiritual life. So I'll stop here. Grantarashimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Prabhupada ki jai, Go Prem Nande, Hari Hari Go.